Prove a point, Rico Lewis offers Manchester City alternative for Pep Guardiola. Manchester City defender Rico Lewis spoke after a starring role in their Champions League win over Villarreal. Rico Lewis felt out of puff after 10 minutes in Villarreal, but he could be ready to breathe new life in Manchester City's midfield. Pep Guardiola is still working out his best combinations in the centre, having said goodbye to long-serving legends Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan in the summer, and been unable to rely on Rodri's fitness. Nico Gonzalez is stepping up to cover for the Ballon d'Or winner, and further forward Phil Foden and Tijani Reinders had been the preferred choice. Both were benched for the trip to Villarreal though, with Lewis coming in as one of 4 changes to make his first start since Huddersfield away in the League Cup. The 20-year-old played where he wants to, in central midfield behind Erling Haaland, and made an instant impact as he crossed for the striker to score the opening goal at the Estadio de la Ceramica. Lewis paired up nicely with Savinho, John Stones and Matheus Nunes in the Champions League game, with a confident performance that gives Guardiola food for thought as he assesses his options that also include Omar Marmoush and Ryan Cherki. Lewis felt like he needed to prove a point, and his way of interpreting the midfield role and running between the lines is certainly different. I was so tired. After 10 minutes I was thinking, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to half-time, but the basics are always going to be there, he said. You can't play for 5 games in a row, but the team is so good that you fit in. We do it so much in training, you know the spaces. Running between the lines is something I'll have to look at myself. It's very different when you're in the game, you don't see it all, but it's something I can offer. It's something I enjoy. I think it's effective as well. I knew I needed to go and prove a point. I needed to prove myself because I've always wanted to play in midfield and talk about it all the time. When I get the opportunity, I want to take it. Guardiola purred over Lewis after the game and was happy with his side's victory, even if he saw room for improvement in the second half. City's problem has generally been seeing out games this season, with promising starts that have faded over the course of the 90 minutes. The players will work on that, helped by the fact that more players are available. But Lewis was happy to lead from the start to play the kind of football that Guardiola loves. Possession heavy, passing heavy, and taking the game to their opponents from the start. Most of the season, it's been like that, in my opinion. From looking from the outside in as well. Maybe some games we've struggled with it, but I feel like Wolves was the same. It's always there, but it's having the confidence to do it from minute 1, he said. The manager says everyone can play amazing football when you're 3 or 4-0 up, but it's about doing it from minute 0, and that's what we did at Villarreal. The performance, coming with a result like that, helps more than you think. You can win 1-0 and it be a bit scrappy, and you can be happy while knowing that the performance wasn't good, but having a performance like that with a clean sheet and 2 goals is amazing. Very frustrating. Angry Manchester City punished by embarrassing UEFA decision. Manchester City made mistakes in their UEFA Youth League game, but a trio of officials got a crucial call wrong. Manchester City were denied a penalty in the UEFA Youth League defeat to Villarreal after 3 officials failed to spot a foul in the penalty area. The referee, supported by a linesman and the 4th official on the same side, agreed that Floyd Samba had been brought down, but chose to give a free kick rather than a spot kick. The incident came in the 70th minute of the game in Villarreal, as City were fighting to get back into the match. 2 first-half goals had given the hosts the lead, but Divine Mukasa had pulled one back for Ben Wilkinson's side, and they were pushing for an equaliser when Sub Samba collected Ryan McAdoo's ball inside the box and was brought down. He's definitely in the area. He's not even on the line. He's inside of the line, said City Club commentator Ali Mann. I'm not quite sure how the officials haven't seen that. It's not a difficult decision to have made, but he's got that one wrong. Mukasa smashed the subsequent free kick against the post and the chance was gone, with City unable to find an equaliser in the final 20 minutes. Wilkinson was one of 11 booked from both sides in a chaotic match that saw tempers fray as the referee struggled to handle the occasion. City's coach was in no doubt that his players only had themselves to blame for their 2-1 defeat after gifting their opponents 2 goals with poor defending. However, it is not a great look for UEFA for their flagship youth competition when 3 officials all failed to see that Samba was clearly inside the box when he was fouled in the second half. Manchester City contract decision that split opinion is beginning to make sense. Manchester City beat Villarreal 2-0 in the Champions League, and Brazilian winger Savinho was key to the success. In among a flurry of new contracts dished out at Manchester City in the last couple of months, it was the one given to Savinho that was of most intrigue and led to the most debate. The Brazilian had only been at the Etihad for one season before seeing a contract with 4 years still to run extended to 6 years, with a hefty pay rise included. The 21-year-old's debut campaign had been promising, but he had flirted with an exit in the summer when he fluttered his eyelashes at Tottenham, who had a strong interest in signing him. Savinho missed the start of the season with a mystery injury as that transfer saga dragged on, and his social media activity didn't always endear himself to the fans, although it might be that amateur sleuths were reading too much into a suitcase lurking in the background of a photo of a pool table. He has certainly cleaned up since. You could argue he played the window perfectly, earning that new deal and extra cash as a result of Spurs' desire to sign him. But with the contract and the salary comes an expectation to perform. His performances last season sparked plenty of debate, and his first start of this certainly split opinion. He ended up scoring at Huddersfield in the Carabao Cup, but until his 74th minute goal, he had frustrated supporters with another night lacking in end product. Pep Guardiola seems enamoured, however. No player got more minutes in the Club World Cup, and the 21-year-old has now started 5 of the last 6 games. He might just be taking his game up a level as well. He has started to perform more consistently, and having set up Erling Haaland for City's second against Everton on Saturday, he was excellent at El Madrigal as the Blues cruised past Villarreal in the Champions League. So dangerous was Savinho that the hosts' left-back, Alfonso Pedraza, was booked after 11 minutes and hooked at half-time, having seen both goals come down his flank. Savinho played a perfectly weighted pass to Rico Lewis to help create the first, and then stuck a cross on Bernardo Silva's head for the second. He combined well with Lewis all night, and the intelligence of the play down the City right was a joy to behold. They were direct when required, but showed patience as well, waiting for the right opportunity to inject speed into a move. Sergi Cardona came on for Pedraza, but he fared little better. Savinho glided past him a couple of times in the early stages of the second half, putting him on the back foot and making him doubt himself from then on. There was one brief spell last season when Savinho threatened to start delivering regularly. He scored and assisted against Leicester City at the end of 2024 and created 2 goals against West Ham at the start of 2025. But then the fizz quickly disappeared again. In total, his first season at the Etihad yielded 3 goals and 13 assists. That isn't terrible, especially in a team that often struggled, but more was expected, and now more is starting to come. Savinho looked bright in the United States in the summer, and during that tournament, Guardiola backed him to eventually deliver on that potential in the final third. He is a player with incredible potential. He said, "We cannot forget he's so young. He needs to make the final third more decisive in aspects like the goal he has done in the last game. He has to do it more. The last goal is more and more complicated and difficult to score than the previous ones. 1-against-1s, the keeper, that maybe last season he missed. The moment he will make this step, which will come in a natural way because he has incredible individual quality, when it arrives for his commitment to say, I want to do it, I want to be decisive, I want to score goals and make more assists, he will become an extraordinary player. He can play on both sides, right and left. He's so fast. He understands tactically the movements he has so to do, so that's why he can play with us. This will be near the top of the list of Savinho's best performances in a City shirt and gives him a platform to build on to prove he is worth the faith Guardiola has shown in him." Manchester City dealt fresh injury blow in key position amid Rodri's setback. Manchester City are already without Rodri and are now facing concern around Nico Gonzalez after he limped out of the game against Villarreal. Manchester City have been handed a fresh injury concern in midfield after Nico Gonzalez limped out of the Champions League clash with Villarreal at El Madrigal. Gonzalez was again standing in for the injured Rodri, but was forced off just before the hour mark and needed treatment from the club's medical staff. The 23-year-old appeared to point towards his groin when he went down and received treatment, although he may have also been complaining of an impact injury after a coming together in midfield. The £50 million January signing from Porto has been impressive recently and had praise from Pep Guardiola ringing in his ears during Monday's press conference. His fitness will be a concern with Rodri still nursing a hamstring injury he picked up against Brentford just over 2 weeks ago. Guardiola said on Monday he expects the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner to miss this weekend's Premier League trip to Aston Villa. It's not long, but it's muscular, and you have to be careful, the City boss said. We've tried so many times, we've tried to not take a risk, but we have not been able to do that. So we will see. Gonzalez was replaced at Villarreal by Mateo Kovacic, who made his first club appearance of the season on Saturday after Achilles surgery in the summer. Kovacic is a potential stand-in for Rodri and Gonzalez if neither Spanish midfielder is able to prove their fitness in time for the clash at Villa Park. The only other City player currently on the treatment table is defender Abdulkadir Kusanov. Nico Gonzalez makes Pep Guardiola admission at intense Manchester City midfielder. Nico Gonzalez has had an eventful start to his career at the Etihad, but is learning a lot. Nico Gonzalez has finally confirmed what everybody suspected about Pep Guardiola. Those pitchside chats are a lot. Gonzalez received possibly the lengthiest post-match debrief from the Manchester City manager anyone has seen when he was collared after